And our debate for this episode is, who should the Browns start at quarterback, Johnny Football or Brian Hoyer? Brian Hoyer was named the starting quarterback today against the Colts, but Max, was this deserved?
Right now, I think you should start Hoyer, given they're playing Indianapolis, one of the better teams in the NFL. And I mean, with Hoyer as quarterback, they do have a winning record, even though it's not all Hoyer's, glory or whatever. But I say give him one more week, and if he doesn't produce this week, you got to put in Manziel.
I think that it doesn't matter what Hoyer has done before this season in training camp or whatever. I believe that whichever quarterback gives us a better chance to beat the Indianapolis Colts, because this Browns team wants to make the playoffs this year, and whichever team gives us a better chance to beat the Colts should be the starter, and in my opinion, that person is Johnny Manziel, because he's going to give us a run impact that we haven't really seen at the quarterback position. And I really don't care that Hoyer's been the starter for a while and what he's done. He was awful against the Bills, gave up 2 interceptions late against the Falcons. He really hasn't been playing well since the start of the year, and in my opinion, I think Johnny Manziel gives us a better chance to beat the Colts. And now we have an interview with Coach Mack of the football and basketball team, and who do you think should start for the Browns against the Colts, Johnny Manziel or Brian Hoyer?
I think Brian Hoyer should. He's gotten them there so far this year. He's a hometown guy. He plays the game like a true quarterback does. He leads his team and takes responsibility on and off the field for the offense going well, and he makes the team his team.
All right, and with the new college rankings that came out last night, TCU jumped out of Florida State. What do you think about that?
I think neither of them are really top 4 contenders. I think Florida State's better than TCU. I think TCU has an easier schedule, and they also, with their last game this upcoming week against Iowa State, Florida State plays a much harder schedule than that. So I think Florida State should be ahead of TCU.
Who do you think is your national champion in college football this season?
National champion, I'd have to go with Alabama. Obviously rooting for the Buckeyes, but Alabama's just a powerhouse with Nick Saban down there coaching them.
And who's your favorite player to watch in either the college or the pros?
My favorite player to watch up until obviously now is J.T. Barrett, the quarterback for Ohio State, who suffered the injury last week. He makes a lot of plays happen with his feet and also his arm.
Yeah, he's a great player, and thanks for coming on to the show, Coach.
No problem, guys.
But now in our upset pick of the week, we won't have any because it's championship weekend. And Max, what's the Pac-12 championship game?
Oregon plays Arizona in the Pac-12 title game. I'm going to go with Oregon, and I think they get revenge against Arizona, who beat them earlier in the year as their only loss. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I agree with that pick. Even though in Oregon's last 14 games, they're 14-0 versus everyone not named Arizona, I still think Marcus Mariota can avenge 2 poor games versus the Wildcats and get a win. And in the ACC championship game, Florida State plays Georgia Tech. I think all the experts are getting way too down on Florida State, and also the playoff committee putting them down at 4. I think this is a wake-up message to Florida State, and they win this game pretty comfortably. What's your pick, Max?
I don't think it's going to be as comfortable as you think. I mean, I think Georgia Tech with their option offense is going to, cause some problems for the Florida State defense. But Florida State just win games. That's all that really matters at the end of the day. And Jameis threw 4 picks last week against Florida, and they still won. So.
In the College Football Playoff Committee opinion, it's not about winning games because they're at 4, which is absolutely ridiculous. But in the Big Ten championship game, Ohio State plays Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin can get a win with Melvin Gordon running all over an average Ohio State run defense, and I think the loss of J.T. Barrett is the difference in this game.
They doubted Ohio State without Braxton, and they're now doubting Ohio State without J.T. I think Ohio State pulls it out. I have faith in Cardale Jones, the 6'5", 250-pound quarterback, and I think they somehow pull this out with all the stuff that's gone on this week. The death of a walk-on defensive lineman and the injury to JT. So, Ohio State pulls it out.
Yeah, that death is really going to be something to watch out for Ohio State emotionally. That's just a really unfortunate thing for the Buckeyes heading into such a huge game. And then the SEC championship game, Alabama plays Missouri with not many people thinking the Tigers can get a win over Alabama, the number 1 ranked team in the country. Max, do you think they have much of a chance? Because I don't.
I think Missouri will hang with them for a little bit, but Alabama just is has too much on both sides of the ball. There's not a defensive back in the country that can stop Amari Cooper.
Baylor plays Kansas State in a Big 12 game, and the Big 12 does not have a conference championship game. And I think Baylor gets a win with Bryce Petty throwing all over this Wildcats defense if he plays. And Baylor needs some style points to get back into the playoff race with TCU jumping up to 3 while they're still at 6. Max, do you think that Baylor can get some style points in a win?
I mean, I don't necessarily know about style points, but I do think that they win this game. They'll kind of prove something to the committee, and maybe the committee gets some sense into their heads, and with TCU being ahead of Baylor despite losing to Baylor.
And now we're going to go into college basketball, and Kentucky plays Texas, and I think there is no way you can bet against Kentucky. I think they will lose one game this year, but I cannot tell you which game that's going to be. I'm going to take the Wildcats winning this game pretty comfortably, even though Miles Turner is a force for the Texas Longhorns. Max, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Kentucky, too. They just have too much talent around them, and it's going to be hard to bet against them at this point with the way they're playing right now.
Gonzaga plays Arizona in a big West Coast battle. I think Gonzaga is the most overrated team in the country right now. They're number 9. They haven't really beat anyone that great, and they're just not that good, I don't think. And come March Madness, they never really make that much noise, and I think Arizona gets an easy win with Stanley Johnson having a huge game. Max, who do you have?
I have Arizona, but not really easy. Gonzaga's always a good team.
Gonzaga's a good team, but never great. That 9 ranking is way overrated for them. But that will wrap it up for the 25th episode of Season Tickets. Make sure you come back next week as we recap all of these games and more.